You know, Sally, we've known each other for about 30 years. I've seen such a great evolution in everything you've done over these years. If I look at this book, I think it's great for women and for men. Let's just talk about men for a second, because I think it's a great book for men to read. Why do you think it's a good book for men to read?
I think it's a wonderful book for men to read, really, because on one hand, it looks at very specific things that men can do to be better allies, to better engage, to better mentor women, to better serve as their supporters. But it also looks at ways men can be more skillful at engaging women to support them. Rising Together is the theme here. That's the name of the book. So the idea is, how do we serve as resources and allies for one another? And one of the reasons, Marshall, that I dedicated the book to you is that our relationship has sort of exemplified that. And I think we have both been able to rise together. I think we have benefited from the relationship, from the collaboration, from the kind of conversations we've had. And I've learned so much from you about building networks, building supporters, about the value of that, and the specifics of how it's done skillfully. So that's what I'm trying to share in the book. And I think there's a lot there for men, and the tone, the way the book is written, and my presumptions are, you're good guys.
Right.
You're good guys. You're trying to get this right. So let's work together to make this new workplace that we're part of, that we're all struggling with, because it's a little difficult. Let's do it.
I love that assumption, you're good people.
Yeah.
Here's another reason I love the assumption. Let's face reality. Who's buying the book anyway? If someone doesn't want to get better, they've got a terrible attitude, they're not going to buy the book in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not our audience.
They're not the audience, right? So the people who are going to buy the book are people that care.
Yeah.
So this is a great book for people that do care. They have their good hearts, and I think we can assume, you know, I've seen studies of my readers and your readers. They're good people. They're educated people. They're people that want to get better. Why are they buying the book in the first place, right?
Exactly.
If they didn't care, they wouldn't buy the book.
Yeah.
So we're really aiming the book at people that care. You could say, well, other people don't care. That's fine. The book isn't for them.
It's so true. This book is aimed at people who want to get better. And listen, becoming someone who is comfortable engaging people across a range of boundaries is going to become only more and more and more essential to people's success. The workforce is becoming highly diverse. I do a lot of work in Silicon Valley. You get there, I mean, you have such a preponderance of people from the subcontinent, you get people there from different castes, and that becomes an issue. So we really need to get comfortable with negotiating these boundaries, or we're not going to really thrive in the years ahead.
I like what you just said, because I think the principles apply across all kinds of different distinctions. It's not just men and women.
No.
It could be people of different races or people of different religious backgrounds or whatever. And so I really like what you're saying, because you're focused on what I would consider to be universally positive behaviors and the avoidance of what you would call universally negative behaviors.
Yes.
Which I think really, unless you want to argue, it's pretty hard to argue with.
It's very hard to argue, and you know, the point you bring out is so correct, because it's people have different values, and that is as big a part of diversity as the demographics. And our dear late friend Roosevelt Thomas talked a lot about that, about if you have people who all look alike, who all look alike but think differently, you've got diversity. If you have people who all think alike and look different, then you don't have diversity. So we need to expand some of these borders of how we define it, and just what are the behaviors that are most likely to make other people successful even as we become more successful. So how do we shine a light on others even as we also make clear what our contributions are and what we intend to contribute?
Yeah, I think the way you do that, you don't see it as a win-lose relationship. Yeah. Basically, in an organization, you're all working together. Another thing from our old friend Roosevelt that he all taught me was the concept of a referent group. We all have different referent groups. And it doesn't mean you're a better person or a worse person. We just have a different referent group. And when you understand that, you may not always agree with people, but you don't hate people.
Yeah,
And you don't get angry at people.
Yeah.
You just say, they have a different referent group than me.
Yeah.
They have a different group of people that they're identifying with than I do, which is okay. They're not better or worse human beings. They're just different.
And it's giving people the benefit of the doubt. Okay, they grew up in this culture, and this is how they talk.
Right.
This is some of the remarks they might make. Okay, maybe this is inappropriate if it's a pattern, it's a problem, but if it is their referent group, as you say, then give them the benefit of the doubt that they probably are a good-hearted person. And I think that's what we have kind of moved away from some of that in a lot of the workplaces that I've worked in. And part of the reason that's a problem is people feel like they have to suppress, what they think in order to fit in. No, you don't. You can think what you want, but here are some behaviors that are not, negative and suppressive, but that will, help you.
Well, see, that's another good thing. Back to our friend Alan Mullally. I mean, the behaviors that he wanted for the group and for example, don't make bad comments about other people.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, fine. Well, one person said, well, I want to be cynical if I feel like it. Well, what did Alan say? Sorry.
Yeah.
You may think cynically or want to be cynical. In this environment, this behavior is going to stop.
Right.
This behavior is just going to stop because it doesn't lead to a positive culture.
Yeah.
You can't get there from here with making it a positive culture. It just doesn't work. So a lot of things that really have come out are behaviors that, and language behaviors, and you say, just don't do this or do this. So I really like what I consider the extremely practical, non-judgmental, non-preachy elements of the book.
I'd like to put that on the cover. Non-judgmental.
Non-preachy.
Non-preachy. Yeah, and practical. That's
Yeah.
what I'm aiming at. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that because very few of us want to be preached at, and talked down to, and you're awful and all that stuff. That doesn't help anyone.
No. I've never had anyone say, thank you for telling me what a jerk I am.
Right.
It's never happened.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I think, very, very positive outlook on the book that I think, to me, it's really hard to argue with. Now, I'm a philosophical Buddhist, and I think one good philosophy toward the book is this. Look, your books, like my books, have a lot of stuff. It's actually quite a dense book.
Yeah.
Some books, the criticism is just one chapter repeated 15 times. Well, yours is not one chapter repeated 15 times. There's a lot of stuff in the book. I think a healthy attitude toward rising together is this. Read the book and do what works for you. What did Buddha say? Buddha said, you listen to what I teach. If it works for you, do it. If it doesn't work for you, it's okay, don't do it. Well, it's fine.
Exactly.
There's so much good stuff in the book. Let's say something doesn't work for you. Fine,
Yeah.
do the other stuff.
Take what you need and leave the rest.
I like that. It's
Very
such a healthy way to look at life.
Thank
Yeah.
you.